Okay, I'm glad to be here with you. I am Alberto Mollinedo. My last name is very, very long. And you have to try to spell it Mollinedo. We try to pronounce the L in another way, for example, from Argentinians. The Argentinians pronounce LL like yes. For example, try to say llama. Llama is IL. The Argentinians pronounce llama. That's the difference. My last name is Mollinedo, or Mollinedo, if you want to try it. Well, we are working in CED project, that is Community Economic Development, since 2007. We are a joint project between Simon Fraser, between a university here in Bolivia, that the former university was Universidad Andina Simón Bolívar, and the current university is Universidad Mayor de San Andrés. And also we have another partner that is IP. IP is an NGO network that it has many affiliates in all the country. So the objective of the project was to institute here in Bolivia a training capacity in CED focus. The CED focus came from Canada, from the United States. I think you have know about it. And also, this project worked in Mexico, in Monterrey. Simon Fraser with another project in Monterrey with the ITES, el Instituto Tecnológico de Monterrey. As I mentioned, the objective was to institute this capacity training program. In the first years, from 2007, I think until 2009, it was focusing more academic public. We have a lot of professionals, we have technicians, but since 2009, I think 2010, we changed the participants of the project, because I think we changed it from the professional ones to more social organizations people. I mean, we are working currently with Viacha municipality. Viacha is a municipality that has 64 communities. There are indigenous communities, and they are organized in social organizations, but traditional organizations. And also, we have been working in Oruro, for example, and we went also to Potosí, but not the city of Potosí. We went to one of the locality that is called Ocuri. Ocuri is one of the more highest localities in Bolivia, and it's located in the more poor place in the country.
How do you spell that, Alberto?
Ocuri is O-C-U-R-I. Ocuri.
How do you spell that earlier community, where the 64 communities were?
And Viacha. Viacha is V-I-A-C-H-A.
Thank you.
Viacha. And Ocuri is the region of Ocuri is northern part of Potosí. That is also the more poorest part of the country. And we are, in this year, 2012, we have 3 programs that we are teaching in Oruro, Viacha, and here in La Paz. And our project is ending in the 2013, in the first trimestre, in the first 3 months of the year, the project ends. So, what we do to try to put some sustainability to this action. We founded SIDECO, that is Centro Integral para el Desarrollo Económico Comunitario. And SIDECO was founded by the structures team. I am a part of the structures too. So our idea is to found this organization that is a non-profit organization, but is funded like a private enterprise by the rules of the country. And we are trying to sustain these actions from 2013 to the future. So we are trying to find funding for the second part of this project. And the second part of the project is not only to deliver the training. So that it's not just this capacity. We are looking that all the social organizations, they need to improve their conditions, but they are doing initiatives in economic sense. So we are trying to find how to sustain these activities and to find how to sustain many initiatives in economical way. And we found that it's impossible just to make initiatives if you don't follow up these initiatives in very near way. You need to make some parallel actions. For example, you need to still continue the training, but not just in CED training. You need to improve more things, more subjects, like I don't know, in business planning, for example, in municipality planning, or just in accountability matters, for example. And also you need to make with them the project initiatives, and also they need to change some attitudes. They need to improve some values that I think many social organizations in Bolivia, they are lost. And we are finding, for example, that in Viacha it's more better to think that, for example, here in the cities. Why? And that's because in the country, in the rural parts of the country, they still have their traditional organization. Their traditional structure of organization. They have their traditional leaders. They have too many duties assigned for every leader that they have. Also, they have the chachawarmi that in Aymara is called chachawarmi. That means that you have to assume some leadership with your female partner. Or you assume two, the man and the female. For example, if you have one hachamalco is the leader of a community or of a marca. If you are elected hachamalco and you are your couple of him, you have to assume this role too. And you are hachamalco and you are hachawarmi. No es malco, hachawarmi. Es la pareja del otro, no es the couple of the man. And it's very interesting because they have a very high potential in social capital. In the cities, the things are very different because we don't have the capacity to mobilize by ourselves. We lost many networks between us. We lost, I think, many relationships between peoples, even though with neighbors, for example, they don't know each other. They are perfect strangers. This, I think, is a handicap if you compare with the rural parts of the country. So we are working in these things. We strongly believe in the focus, on CED focus, because we think it's very different when you are working, for example, in traditional projects. We think this is very potential to mobilize the people. We think that the people have to think by themselves, that the people have to mobilize by themselves, and they have to do the things, the action by themselves. And we, as project, as SIDECO, or whatever you want, yeah, like an NGO or like a state, like the Bolivian state, they have to accompany this process. They have to enforce these people to mobilize and to do by themselves. That's we are believing, and that we are working for. As I said, I hope that all these actions we can continue in the future. I hope that meeting this great group, we can find some joint action or some joint beliefs that we can share, or we can work, or we could work in the future. That's where, I think that's all in a very...
Well, that's why we call these dialogues. It's an opportunity for us to learn about what's happening here, and if we stumble on something we know, we're not going to hesitate to share it. What specifically are the initiatives that are being put together? When you talk about the projects in some of these areas, what are those projects?
For example, we have in Yacha, we have initiative in fishery, and also in agricultural initiatives, like they are trying to make balanced food for the cattle. They also have a water project to explore the inner waters, the underground water, the wells. And also have, for example, initiatives that they are trying to make a learning center in one community. Yacha is the richest part in initiatives because they took the focus as if they were thinking of the focus. They appropriate the focus. So they are very engaged, and they are very motivated to do this kind of initiative. In another parts of the country that we have been working, for example, in Santa Cruz, that is the other part of the country, they have another kind of initiatives like a soccer school.
Oh, okay, okay.
That is in the city of Santa Cruz. It's a urban initiative.
2016.
And also they have in the northern part of the country, that is also the Amazonia, in the nation, aboriginal nation that is called Chimanes. They are trying to make another initiative to not industrialize this, to make some goods of the hatata. You know the hatata is one kind of leaf of a tree, and you can make roofs with the hatata.
Huh.
Maybe you see something in the barbecue. You have a roof with some leaves, some brown leaves. That is hatata, and it's they have a very good price in the market, and they are trying to sell the hatata by themselves, because they have intermediates that they bought the leaves from the Chimanes, and they brought them to Santa Cruz, and they gained the more part of the income of the revenue. And also we have another initiatives in Oruro, for example, that they are trying to make a group of tejedoras, ¿cómo se dice? Que hacen
weaver?
las chompas.
Yeah.
Estos que hacen
Not a seamstress, but a weaver.
Yeah.
Weaver.
Pero bueno, hacen las chompas de tejiendo. And well, you can find another initiatives in other places. But what's the important thing, I believe, important thing is that you can push the people to make the initiatives. They have to realize that first they can do initiatives, and second, that it's possible to do. And the possible, it has to be with the funding, it has to be with the markets. And I think that's the two clues that they have to meet in the future, that to make these initiatives come true.
So in order to organize these initiatives, some of your team goes to these towns and stays there for a while, or how do you actually implement the program?
We go to and work with them, for example, in the business plan. We work with them, for example, in the community capital analysis. And that's the work we are trying to do that with them. And that's the difference, because they have to do. We just go and just help in, I think, in the conceptual framework. We help in, if they don't have the capacity to write or to make the business plan. That's our work. But they have to realize by themselves.
And how do you select these communities? Do they reach out for your institution, or do you hear about these problems, or how does it actually work in real life?
Actually, we didn't select the communities. The communities come to us.
Okay.
And why? That's because of the training program. The training program was delivered in La Paz, in Oruro, in Potosí, in Santa Cruz, and maybe also in Cochabamba. I think in this end of the year, we are thinking to go to Cochabamba. And of this process, they come to us in the one of the results of the training program is to think in the initiatives. So it was natural that at the end of the program they come to us asking for, okay, you learn me how to make this initiative. You learn me the theory and how we can implement this theory and make this initiative practice or real. And this is I think the hard part of this process, that we need to make the funding, the continue the actions. Because if we fail, I think many of these communities, of these people, will be very disappointed. Well, someone we can do all. We can do all that we want. But it will be very, very sad, because they will feel, I think, very dismotivated or motivated. We don't want to. We want that.
And who is supporting the initiatives at this point? Are you getting some support at this time?
With this 6 months, I think, that we have of the project, we are trying to make these efforts. But the efforts by ourselves, because we don't have the resources, just we have us. And we are trying to help without pay, in the real sense. But we are looking for funding. We are presenting some proposals to other institutions. Actually, we wrote another proposal to SIDA, and we failed. And we are writing another proposal to other funding. We hope that we will succeed, I think, in 2013. continues a part
If
of
it's
it.
any comfort, many of us have failed in writing proposals to CETA.
I think
very
this year
difficult-
many failed.
It's a difficult process now, and particularly under the new government.
Yes, I think they change their aims as a corporation, as international.
Yeah, you have to be exactly in the right country and the right politics. It's not exactly, it doesn't really matter what your program is, and they're pretty frank sometimes in telling you this, so. But
Yeah, it's true.
That's the crude reality.
CETA is the AID of Canada, Canadian Institute, Canadian International Development Agency. And they actually, historically, in the UK and Canada, had a commitment towards community building, community organizing. So it used to be, back some years ago, a place where fairly interesting community organizing projects could be funded. And that's pre the Harper government. So
Yeah, there's a lot of my parents used to work at CETA, and they know a lot of people that are still there who are very frustrated with the way that it's working now.
Well, that's a part of their story.
yeah, that's right. So misery loves company. You've got good company, is all I'm saying. But that doesn't mean there won't be somebody else. It's just very, the financial situation around the world for funding is very difficult. So to look at sustainable projects like you're doing is obviously what a lot of us are doing who do international work.
So,
Okay, yeah.
so like, when we choose an issue we're going to work on, we do a lot of listening, and we have some kind of assembly where we choose the issues. How do these communities go about choosing what initiative they're going to take up?
And that's because of the CD focus. They start identifying what they have. What they have as the term is capital. We have a community capital. We classified six types of capital. We have social capital, economic capital, cultural capital, physical capital.
And this would be like you facilitating a workshop, trying to draw out.
We facilitate in the workshop and in the courses, the modules. And they start to work between them. And they start to looking what they have in their communities. For example, they have their traditional organization. This is part of social capital. They have many agricultural, soil, land. This is part of economic capital. And they go in this way. And they find that they have a lot of things that they can work. We just have the things that they have. We don't try to see the problem or the necessities that also they have. But this focus tries to give the positive look of the potentialities of they have, and they can work. And if your potential, for example, is in social capital, in their traditional leaders structure, they can work with this traditional structure to make some initiative. For example, what kind of initiative? They can work, for example, in that their leaders ask for the municipality for some funding of a specific project, for example, of the water project, or to make the fishery, for example. They asked for a very small funding for the municipality. And also, as Bolivia is engaged in a very strong autonomy process, the municipalities have the resources, the financial resources in their places, and they are able to give the communities and also the people organized in communities. That's part of our new constitution, says about the economic community. They can give very good way, good sense to this economic community. That's the way we facilitate the focus, but they have to work between them.
What's the most successful project you've seen develop through your efforts thus far?
In the initiative,
The initiatives you've been involved in. What's the biggest success story?
well, biggest, I think, in the sense of the capacity of mobilize the people is in Viacha. Because not only the municipality, they are trying to work the focus also in the marca. You know, the marca is all the rural part of the municipality of Viacha is the marca. The marca is grouping the 64 communities. Also, there's another traditional way of organizing the land here in Bolivia. You can find in the high plateau, toda la parte del altiplano, you can find ayllus, you will find marcas, you will find sindicatos rurales, like agricultural unions. And this is the way that the people is organized in the rural part of the country. Also in Viacha, you have the Marca Viacha, that is compounded by 64 communities. And I think that our more important result is between these people. But not this, only these people, it's also the municipality. For example, the municipality is trying to incorporate the CED focus in its planning process. They have to wrote his se llama el PDM, Plan de Desarrollo Municipal. It's like a development municipality program that is for 5 years from 2013. And they are trying to incorporate the CED focus in its instrument of planning. In the sense of one of their objectives is to reach this focus by their people, and also to help to reach this focus for the people. I think this is the important result of this project. But if you want to see the potential of the focus of CED, it's very high in all the country. We have much to work, for example, in some kind of change, some cultural attitudes that we have. And one of these things is that we need to put over the rental focus. We have a very rental seeking mentality. And this is, I think, one of the worst things that we have. Es el enfoque rentista. The rental focus is when you are just trying to find like some income that you can have some income, but it's not product of your work necessarily. It's product, for example, if you have one apartment and you rent it, then you will have some income of this apartment. But it's a rent. It's an income of a rent.
As opposed to production.
Yes. And also we are always looking, for example, to this kind of income or rent. In the example, when you are trying to enter to the public administration, for example, many people are looking for the income or the rent. And this focus is trying to change this attitude or this way of thinking. Is trying to change in another way of thinking. that we have to do our destiny. We have to work, and also we have to think. And
If
we
you
have
could
to think, we
change
have
that
to
in
be
Bolivia, there's a big world out there looking for you to change rent seeking, because that's
Oh,
classic
yes, of
economics.
course.
That's part of the problem we face in the United States, is we now have nothing but rent seekers at the top,
That's the word,
sucking
rent
us
seekers.
dry.
Yes, I think all the people that is involved in development has, I think, dreams. I think much of us, we have a very impossible dreams. That we have to dream.
Absolutely. We're all about dreams.
Work in development, I think. And this dream, for me, in a personal way, is a dream about people. It's a dream about the people is going to change. I think many attitudes, many poor situations, and I think they could have a lot of wealth, not only in a physical way, and also in the values. That's for me, it's very important.
How many people work with you, like are part of the organization?
We are some kinds of team instructors. The team here in Bolivia. But if you count, for example, with our Simon Fraser colleagues, we are some kind of 15 or 20. And if you count some kind of allies that we have, the people involved with us working in this project, we can count, I think, 10 more people.
And that brings a natural question. Are there a lot of other people involved in community development in Bolivia now?
Not in the world, the ex-world, no? Community development. I think they are working in the same sense. And that's, I think, why they can be your allies. And it can be we can find the common aims, the common objectives, and the common activities to work together.
And can you say again the six measurements you have of capital? Like you said, social capital, cultural capital.
The community capital framework. Yes, the community capital framework is in very simple words, is all the community have in the sense of
Asset based.
asset. I don't want to say property, because it's not that sense.
No, right. But
Because, for example, the human capital is all the learning that we have, all the health that you have, it's also part of the human capital. Social capital is all the structures, all the organizations in the community, and also the organizations that are in your environment. The organizations that are in your environment we call asset, because it's not like that you have this organization, but you can work with this organization. And this is the difference. Also, you have the cultural capital. For example, in the cultural capital is the traditional organization structure of this kind of rural community. Also, you have a lot of parties, for example, the special way that people come together in some day, some date. You also have the physical capital, that is all the infrastructure. You have a school, or an hospital, you have a library, that's all part of physical capital. You have the economical capital, that's all the enterprises there. It's also for example, the agricultural production is part of the economical capital. And you have the natural capital. Natural capital is all you can find in this community that Mother Earth gave them, that are in the place, like even the mountains, for example, mining resources, you found, I don't know, for example, water underground or on the floor, that is part of the natural capital. And I think
that's 6, no?
Yeah, so
Human, social,
yeah, that's
cultural,
6.
economic,
Social,
physical.
cultural, economic, physical, human, and natural.
Cultural.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're there.
You can find more capitals if you want.
But this is the measurement you use.
If you read, for example, this is European sociologist, very famous. I can't remember his name. For example, they have 10 or 13 capitals. But this is not the important thing. The important thing is the methodology. It's how do you try to learn this focus that it will be simple. It will be simple to understand, and it will be simple to also to make or to realize where you can work and use it. That's the way that we just have 6 capital, all the community capital concept.
Is there like a usage of like what they call like popular education in the workshops? Is that a methodology?
Yes, that's the way we try to teach the focus. It's more related with popular education. It's more related with a horizontal way of teaching. That's why we say we facilitate. Actually, we do not teach. And also, when the people are coming to the program or the courses, the first condition is that people have to share their experience, have to share their knowledge. Because we have one supuesto que se dice. We have one principle that all the people know something, even if they don't have the opportunity to go to the school or to the university. They have knowledge. They have knowledge learning by the experience of their life. And if this is true, they can share their knowledge and their experience. And they try that all the people in the process share their experience and their knowledge. And we mix the groups. We have people that come from the rural communities, and also you have some people that are professional or municipality technicians, for example. And in the first time of the project, the first years, we were very afraid of this. Because if you see in the academic way, it's the worst thing that you can do is to mix people. All they have to make the same grade, the same level. And we were afraid of that. But when we mix the people, we found another result. That very distinct people, very different people in the educational level speaking, they can work together. And they can share, and they can help each other. And in both ways. Not just the professional to the other one. To the rural peasant, to the professional to the rural brother.
Does the national government have a developmental arm here in Bolivia?
Nothing the CED in this world.
I'm sure not in your sense, but
They have the economic community that, as I mentioned, is part of our constitution. The government is working a lot of laws that is related to improve or to mobilize this economic community. We are working, I think, in the sense. I can say that we are the same.
because we are
Are they an
part of the
ally or an opponent of what you're doing? Are they an ally or an opponent of what you're doing?
No, all the organizations, even the state, are allies. We do not believe that this is the best way to work as opposite. Because I think the CAD focus is contributing to a local development. And the local development is contributing to the national development. And the national development is in the part of the public policy through the state. So I think we are contributing.
So is the federal government here in Bolivia supporting your work?
No.
Why not?
I think, well, to be sincere, we didn't ask for help to the government. I think they have their programs, public programs, that I think it could be potential for us. But we didn't ask. We think that we are very young very young. We have a few years working. And what we are trying to do is not go into the national government.
All right, yeah.
Yet. We are trying first to work with the people in the communities, with the municipalities. That the municipality is a part of the state. In one sense, it's a part of government. And the municipalities, they have the resources. So you can work here in Bolivia, I think, more easily, more conducive if you work with the municipalities. I think they have more opportunities in municipalities.
I'm just wondering if the support for your program isn't more likely to come from the Bolivian government as opposed to foreign governments. And in the same way, I'm wondering, were you to have been successful and gotten support from CETA, if that would have hurt you in terms of moving forward with relationship with municipal and national governments? We're trying to understand the politics here. We don't really understand it at all, but we hear bits and pieces, so it makes you wonder how these things fall in place for people.
It's very difficult to understand the politics. Yeah. Very difficult. But if you want to see the SIDECO strategy, you have to wait, maybe 3. You can go by the national government, you can go by the international cooperation, and you can go by yourself. I think there are 3 ways, and as a good strategist, you are looking the 3 ones to work. Because we think that it's not, how can I say who is better? The national government didn't. I think all are better. The better, I think, is to join the effort. The better is to find where we can go through, where we can continue with this effort. And the third one that is going by ourselves, I mean, is going by the initiatives can go successful. I think in the market, I don't know, that this kind of social enterprises can produce, can give some income that it will be distributed by these people. That's the hardest way, but that's the aim of all these actions. And I think we need some support.
When you start one of these projects, like you were talking about the thatch for the roofs or agricultural projects or fisheries, what's the ownership structure that you're creating? Who owns it, and how do you allocate any income that comes from that project?
What we teach in the focus, and all these people are trying to do, is that ownership is the community. That's why these initiatives is a kind of social enterprise. The ownership that is related to the actions, to the resources that they can put in the initiative. Not is the sense of the, for example, your house. Not is your property. Not is that you are going with your house and say, okay, community, here's my house, then it's yours. Not the same. What the people are doing is they can give their work, they can give some part of their land, for example, that the initiative can use, but not giving the property. They are giving just the part to work in the initiative. Also, although that's why the ownership is between all the people that participate in the initiative. It's very kind of, if you know something about the cooperatives or la asociatividad, that's the way. But in the focus, we are trying to make that the distribution of the effort of the initiatives go to the all. The people that are participating, but also the people that live in this community. That's why we always mention that this focus is very inclusive in this way.
So if you have a project to grow onions and sell them in the market, who decides on who gets the income?
They will decide through the people of the community. If you, for example, you create a social enterprise of this kind,
Yeah.
you will have some people that are working in the operation, and you will have the other people that is part of the community that they can work all. But all the people could be a part of an asamblea, an assembly that is part of the governance structure. And this governance structure will decide about the income, if it generates superávit. If they have a superávit, they will decide what to do, what to invest, how to distribute this superávit between the people or between the initiative. Easily, it depends on the structure or governance of the social enterprise.
Sounds like a municipal corporation.
Sounds like
a municipal corporation. It's owned by the community through the governmental structure.
Yeah.
And also, one question that you could have is what we understand of a community. We understand a community as I don't know if this is the right word, like a big concept. You can find communities here in the rural part of the country, but we are trying to make a concept that the people that will engage in an effort, for example, for some interest, for example, for some condition, I think social condition or whatever, they also can make a community. So, in the basic concept, a community is a group of humans that are involved in some effort that they want to do. And the concept will find, for example, urban community that we are working by the interest, for example, interest in why? Interest in to give them some opportunity in income or in employment. In the rural areas, you can find, if you have the concept, you will find the traditional community, that are a group of people that live in a part of a territory, in a region. They live together. another part of the country. And if the people live together, they could have, or they could do some kind of initiative. That's the concept of community we are trying to implement here in Bolivia. That is different, because if you talk about communities in Bolivia, all the people know that the community is in the rural part of the country, and also are part of a group of peasants or group of indigenous people. We are trying to expand this concept.
So it sounded like in Los Altos, in El Alto, that they had used a lot of their traditional ways of meeting to form. What was the name of how the collective met?
Kube?
For Kube. So they had a monthly meeting in each neighborhood, and then a federation, and through those mechanisms, they also chose to take broader political issues like shutting down the roads and stuff like that, using the traditional meeting spaces that they brought. So, I mean, does that ever happen in trying to preserve and resuscitate traditional meeting ways? Can that happen in one of the communities you're working in? And is that looked bad upon, or?
I think this is a common way to work in this kind of community. In Viacha is at least 2 or 3 meetings every week. And also they have a very big assembly each Sunday of all of the authority leaders. That in Viacha you can count more than 3,000 leaders, traditional leaders in the community. More than 3,000. And they meet in all the week, and they talk about their plans. They talk about to take decisions. It's very common. And if you are talking about El Alto is a city that grew because of the immigrants, the process of migration. And the migration is from the rural part of the country to the city, and that's why they conserve this kind of organization. It's very potential, I think. It's potential because if you compare El Alto with La Paz, in La Paz, I think in the more part of the neighborhoods we lost this capacity. And in Alto we still have this capacity. And that's why they can mobilize, they can ask for many of demands, and also they can to block all the city. And also to ask Gonzalo Sánchez de la Sala, for example, what happened since 2003. They have power.
We have power. That's exactly right.
Power to mobilize.
But that concept of community is growing as well, a community of interest essentially, not just a geographical community. So we understand that. I mean, it's actually in community organizing in the United States, it's somewhat of a challenge still, because much of the community organizing is either physically based or institutional based, and if it's institutionally based, it tends to be a community of interest in that same way. But there certainly is a wider definition of community that is expanding, I think, fairly rapidly. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks that, but wouldn't you say, Cora?
You said that the definition of community is expanding within institutionally based stuff?
No, I think it's expanding in general. I mean, you have online communities, you have, I mean, just the sense of community as self-identified interest groups that have, created their own sense of community. I think to act, to meet, to make decisions is something we haven't really even been able to keep up with, I don't think. But it's definitely not just a physical place.
Yeah, I was just thinking of geography. Like only has so much. There's like only there's a limited amount of power a community-based organization that's specifically located in one space and doesn't have connections outside of that space.
We used to say at Acorn that we were constituency organizers. We organized low and moderate income people, and we organized them wherever we could find them, at the workplace, in physical communities, et cetera, et cetera. But it's still, it's an interesting way of working. I think there's potential there. Do you have another question, Drummond?
Oh, sorry. Just I
Just,
think I
you
may
know.
need to go to the washroom pretty soon. Okay, let me think of something.
You don't have to. I just wanted to make sure if you had one. Sarah, any questions you haven't asked? Because this has been very helpful in understanding that. Is there much community development going on here in the cities as well? We haven't heard of much. That doesn't mean.
Not too much. This year we are working with the La Paz municipality. We are working with a very big program that they have. It's called Barrios de Verdad. It's like
I heard about that.
Yeah,
reality neighborhoods, I think.
We saw 2 of the community centers in La Paz that were part of that.
We are working with them. And we are teaching the
Barrios
focus.
de Verdad. True neighborhoods.
La Paz has a very big potential to work in this focus, and they are working in local development. It's economic local development. It's DEL, se llaman. And they are trying to promote a lot of economic activities in the neighborhoods. The people. So we think we are contributing, not competing with them.
Have they asked you to do something specific?
Yes, we are teaching the program.
Oh, okay.
I think there are 20 technicians of the municipality, and also we have 20 leaders of the neighborhood.
What are municipal technicians? What do they do? What do the technicians do?
Technicians work in the Barrios de Verdad program. All the people we have are working in the Barrios de Verdad. And you have a mix of professionals. You have engineers, you have economists, and also have social workers, for example.
I'm wondering, could you tell us a short story of one of the more impressive community leaders you've met in your work throughout the country? Like, who are they? What kind of project?
Well, I can tell you more than one.
I'm sure you could.
The more impressive situation I was involved was one day that I went to Biacha. I didn't know where I have to meet or who I have to meet. They told me, come to Biacha and you will explain the CED focus, the CED training to our people. I say, okay, I will be there some Sunday. So I went on Sunday to Biacha and I entered the room, the very big room, an auditorium, and this I met more than 300 local or traditional leaders of Biacha. And you know that in Biacha they also speak Aymara. And in their assemblies, they speak Aymara. And, well, I don't know how to speak Aymara. So I met them. We go to a la testera, and I start to speak them. And all the 300 leaders start crying me, speaking Aymara, speaking Aymara. And I didn't know how to do. but I feel very afraid. Well, for luck to me, they understand that I am not able to speak Aymara, so they listen in Spanish. But it's very impressive because you see a lot of leaders, and the leaders are not in its normal clothes. They have some kind of, they say, uniform. They have a poncho, they have a hat, they have a scarf, and also they have like bastones, like a stick, un palo, a stick, like a stick, and also they have un cinturón, like a belt. That is a punch belt, it's not a simple belt. And this is they call our uniform. And all are wearing these clothes. If they are in this clothes, they can enter to the assembly. This is one. Very nice, very impressive to me. And also, if you want to hear me some more, in Oruro I met some...
Before you move on, what was the project that they chose to work on?
The project what?
What was the project that group chose to work on?
In this assembly? Mm-hmm. No, just to hear about the focus, not else.
This is just the introduction.
Okay.
They all came.
They have to decide.
It was the first
They
time
all came dressed for war.
300 people, it takes some time.
Were many members of the leadership women or just men?
Half.
Half.
Yes.
Really?
Also a man.
Because of the co-leadership structure, I think.
Hachimari.
And as Dave here, as Dave said, it's a very common way to organize by themselves in this kind of assembly. And it's why they are used to communicate, but they are in the speaking. They are an oral culture. They transmit their learnings, their information, and they share with each other, talking with each other. That's an oral culture. And also I think in Bolivia. The other experience that I was telling you is in Oruro, that I met a very elderly Malku. Malku is a kind of authority, a leader. And they told me about that they wanted to apply the TV focus to learn about what he knows about the nature, and they told me that he knows how to read the stars, how to read the stones in the soil, how to read the plants, and many things that are very uncommon. And he told me, I want to apply this focus to teach my people all this knowledge that this knowledge is se está perdiendo.
It's getting lost.
It's disappearing.
Yes.
By the time. Uncommon knowledge, I don't know about much of this, but very interesting in some ways.
Absolutely.
Because he told me that he could, for example, produce the crop from 1 year to another. I don't know why. They told me that they have to do the plants, and also they have to do the soil and the stones. And I think it's a kind of knowledge. Very strange to us.
But very powerful.
It's knowledge.
Yeah, very powerful.
Interesting.
A lot of social capital there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's part of your cultural capital.
Alberto, this has been so helpful. You have another question? I don't want to take too much more of your day. This has been a great hour. I just looked down and you've been talking for an hour and we've been taking notes for about that same time. But I want to thank you again for your willingness to come visit with us. This has been very engaging.
You're welcome. Just one question of me.
Sure, please.
You are visiting the country, and I think you are going to meet some organizations or other people here. And what are your aims, your vision? It's your first time in Bolivia.
We want to learn what we can of how things work here. The role of social movements, as you discussed, is very important in Bolivia. It's not as important in some of the countries where we work, frankly. And we'd like to learn more about how they have been successful, what roles they play, sort of, in your terms, how social capital has worked in Bolivia. We think there's a lot of potential that we could learn, take home, and put to work in our countries.
Social capital.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
I apologize for my English.
Oh, your English was fantastic.
I don't have the opportunity to speak English.
Thanks so much.
You're fine.